Hey, I had a really interesting week. I got sidetracked, like that never happens. Listening to old Fleetwood Mac stuff. It is Friday, the 24th of February. Getting close to noon here in California. Wet and rainy and snowy, not too far away. We got snow on the mountains, on the hills just around us. And anyway, so been very cold here lately, but can't complain. So, for some reason, I'm not sure what started this off. Oh, I know what it was. I got a. I mentioned a few weeks ago that there was a run on people downloading or buying Long Long Time it being used in the TV show. And this week, for some reason, I really count this as can't count this as a run, but a couple people bought. Usually we do that with a pick. Wait a minute, but not that. It was really part two. A couple people jumped on "Oh Well" part two, which is this 5 or 6 minute instrumental that Peter Green put together, completely unrelated to "Oh Well" part one, and made me look at some of the other Fleetwood Mac things that I've sort of neglected. Um, and I went down this rabbit hole for a song that I've played this song instrumentally for years without ever really listening to it and figuring out what key it's in. Well, it turns out that it's a Bob Welch tune. This was basically the second incarnation, the second phase of Fleetwood Mac, I guess. Peter Green had left, and Jeremy Spencer had left, and Bob Welch kind of stepped in, and their sound really changed. This was 1971, I think. And the first album they put together like this was Future Games, and then Bare Trees. And Bare Trees had a tune of Welch's on it that I just think is beautiful. Let me see if I can do the fake little intro that he was. Oh. This is not the original key. This is the key I've always played it in, I think. And it made me think, God, I should do a lesson on that, except probably not the instrumental version. I should start with the real version. Well, the real version was in E, and it had this little cool kind of harpsichordy intro that went something like this. There we go, get it in tune. And then it starts with an A chord. Should have thought about this first, huh? Anyway, so I should probably put that together as just kind of a cool song to strum. It's a really interesting chord progression. It's in the key of E, but it starts on chord 4 and never gets to 1 for a long time. It goes from 4 to 5 to 6 a bunch of times. Then 3 to 5 before it finally lands on 1 and 2. And that's going to kind of lead me into another song of theirs. I'll do this at the end. Another song of theirs that is E's and F sharp minors for the whole song. Anyway, because what I want to talk about, today's tip is going to be, don't be afraid of alternate tunings. I'm not even going to call it an open tuning, because there are a lot of cool things you can do just by retuning one string. Anyway, what else happened this week? Anyhow, just that I had to finish that one while I was on my Dan Hicks kick, which might be over now. I'm not sure, unless I get to O'Reilly. Not sure about that yet either. But yeah. Oh, so that was the only new song I got to this week. They got a bunch of irons in the fire as always, and sometimes, and I'm still messing with. Trying to figure out how many of those licks in Hesitation Blues I need to put in the music. And I keep saying, oh, I got to include that one. I got like that one. It was really cool. So anyhow, that's still in the oven too. Let's see. I think that's enough about Dan Hicks. Oh, I hope you've had a chance to check out the birds. They're almost visible now. The little babies are, and that thread is always on the forum. So I mean, that's always the live feed on the forum, and then all of the old ones are all there in one place. So their little beaks are sticking up just about over the nest now, and pretty cool what's going on with the hummingbirds. But it'll get even more exciting as they get up on the edge of the nest and hang out and wait for mom. Okay, I think I'm ready to talk about tunings. Do I have anything else I want to do? No. So I've had a couple requests lately for one song in particular. I get a lot of requests. I like the Jethro Tull one too. Somebody's asking about another piece of Thick as a Brick that I'm going to think about that too. I was listening to it this morning too, that little stretch. But it was a Gillian Welch song called Hard Times, and when I popped it on, we listened to it. She's just playing banjo in it, and it's capoed. It's quite high up the neck. And my first thought was, well, let's make a guitar adaptation of it. And then I thought, wait a minute, let's just make this really easy. Let's put the guitar in banjo tuning. On the banjo, especially in this particular song, you only need 4 strings. And all you have to do is tune the first string down to, do I have a capo here? I do. You just have to tune the first string down to D. And now I've got banjo stuff. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by alternate tunings, by changing things. But you saw what happened right there. I just changed the E string to a D, and in that song in particular, which I may get to a lesson on, it's a bunch of 1 and 2 finger chords. There's only like 4 of them, maybe 5, but they're all really easy. And so the path that I decided to take there was, don't let just go into banjo tuning, put a capo at the 6th fret, and don't make a whole translation of it for the guitar. So, and of course, once we're in with a more common, the first tuning I would usually have students start with is drop D, having the 6th string down to D. And there are tons of songs you can play in drop D. John Denver tunes. Now I'm still in double drop D, which means I have to play these chords a little differently. But single drop D, meaning just the D in the bass, is there's a ton of songs out there that are really fun to play with that. So don't be afraid to try that. If you want to go into the double drop D, then you're opening the door for stuff like Neil Young tunes, right? The Loner, Cinnamon Girl, and the Old Laughing Lady, is that the one I'm thinking of? The stuff from the Whiskey Boot Hill stuff from Deja Vu. Anyway, and so where I'm really going with this is that there are a lot of tunings that are just one string different, and in this case, like drop D is a great place to start. I saw somebody else recently ask me about a Bicycle tune, a John Renbourn piece that is in lute tuning. Well, a lute tuning just has the one string change, the third string drop down from G to F sharp. And that makes the song, I don't want to say easy because none of his tunes are easy. Okay, I'm going back to standard tuning because I got a story to tell you related to where we started with Fleetwood Mac earlier today. I had I was looking at another old class. I can't remember what piece this was, but somebody else, another student, came in with some classical stuff that she wanted to work on, and one of them was that. And just after I went out of drop D, I need that D. Anyway, the Afro-Cuban Lullaby is in drop D, and not particularly difficult except for a little bit of a stretch. And so the song I want to talk about. Should I get there? I think I'm ready. So just by that's what it was. There was another classical piece that she handed me at the same time that had the fifth string tuned down to G, and the sixth string left the same. And what that just did was gives you an open G, which means you can play a lot of stuff without having to reach for the G in the bass. And I was messing with a song. I'll tell you what it is in a second if you don't recognize it yet, so don't worry. I'm going to give this one away. I only needed 2 bass notes throughout the whole song, and one of them is E. Then it changed chords and went to F sharp minor. And so unfortunately to play the F sharp in the bass, I got to keep this note down here or settle for it an octave higher sometimes. And then there's a lot of cool melodies. And for right there, then it goes to the F sharp minor, and it's like if in order to play that melody, it's either way up here and unreachable, unless then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Get your tuner out. Tune the fifth string to F sharp. And that, with many guitars, this delicate, retuning one string a whole step messes up the tension on all of them. So that's another important thing. Like what I just did right there, when I'm going to retune something, this is the same rule you should have when you have a capo, when you put a capo on. But even if you go into drop D and then put a capo on, get whatever string you're changing really close first. It doesn't have to be exact, but just get it in the ballpark. One of my students told me he just recently retuned his 12 string from standard pitch to down a whole step. He just bought a 12 string and took it down a whole step. Said it took him like a half an hour to get it in tune down there because he went through and tuned it, got every note exactly right, and then where he'd started, we're way off again because of the tension constantly changing with the lowering of each string. And so the advice that I gave him was just get every string close first. Don't fine tune it. That's a waste of time. Get them all close, then fine tune each one, and they should stay. So you have to get the tension pretty close first. So right there, when I brought my A string down to F sharp, that put so little tension, or that lowered the tension on the neck, which meant the neck pulled up a little bit, which lowered the pitch, raised the pitch. Anyway, changed the pitch of a couple other strings. So I had to fine tune it. So now I should be good. Let's see what the super snark tells me. Looks good. Oh, the F sharp is flat now because of string memory or metal memory. There we go. Okay. So now this is really odd because now I've got an E on the sixth string and an F sharp on the fifth string, which means I can keep my E rolling while I play some of that melody, and I can go to the F sharp. Forgetting to change the bass notes. But here's that other part. This will sound much better, the part way up the neck. Then I don't know, this might be too much trouble. Anyway, something like that. So I might have to get to a lesson on that. That is, of course, Albatross. That was the inspiration for Sun King. Recognize the similarity? Did you think I was playing a Beatles tune when you heard that? It's a Peter Green tune, Albatross. Okay, I think that is it for February. So some of those tunes will appear over the next week. I'm just not sure which ones yet and what order they're coming in, but that's what I've been doing. I hope everybody else has been having a good coming out of winter and heading into spring. Hopefully things will start warming up again a little bit more, but I will see you next week.